It is the year of election. These two leaders will face each other for the third consecutive time. Will Ghanaians vote for change or keep the incumbent? Or will there be a paradigm shift for a new party to shake up the political system in Ghana, the corruption allegations, the economy? Or are you satisfied with the state of affairs as a Ghanaian in the diaspora? Well, you have a voice. Join us on the Logic Box Ghana Election 2020 special. Hello and welcome to the Logic Box with me, Jones. Hope you're well and safe and looking after each other. Well, as I always say this when we start streaming, okay, coronavirus is still very much out there. So please do look after yourself and your loved ones. Today, we're doing something a bit different. It's an exclusive interview we have with the NDC Chairman, UK and Ireland branch, Mr. Alhassan Mbalba. Okay, he's the chairman for the National Democratic Congress, the opposition party in Ghana. Alhassan, thank you very much for coming on the Logic Box. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, thank you, my brother Jones, and good evening to your cherished listeners. I'm fine. As you said, the COVID-19 is still unsettling a lot of people residing in the Western world.
Yes.
Because we are still not near normalcy. But what can we do?
Absolutely.
We need to keep on praying to the Almighty Allah to rid the world of this pandemic.
Great stuff. For you watching, make sure you share, okay? Share. Get other people involved. Let's have a discussion. It is election year 2020. Come December 7th, Ghanaians will go to the polls to choose who they want to lead the country. And I'm sure as a Ghanaian yourself, you have interest in Ghana, being a Ghanaian. So do share, comment. Okay, we're also streaming live on YouTube as well. So Facebook and YouTube. If you want to watch on YouTube, go onto our YouTube channel. It's the Logic Box with Jones on YouTube. You see a lot of videos on there. Okay, and whilst you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow us across all socials as well. Okay, because we're moving up. So you have to stay with us. So, Alhassan, again, we spoke about COVID, and I just wanted to hear your take on how you think President Addo and his government have dealt with the situation in Ghana.
Well, I don't think as a country we have handled it very well. We have, as usual, introduced partisan politics into it. If you look at the figures they are reporting, sometimes you wonder whether those figures are the true reflection of what the virus is causing to Ghanaians. The president is boasting of his achievement. Mm-hmm. The whole thing was being led by science in quote.
Yes.
Which when I looked at it, mm-hmm. It was decisions were being influenced by political consideration and not medical science.
Well, you touched on figures here. So total cases in Ghana is 46,656. Recovered is 45,942.
Okay.
And the death is 301.
We are in this country.
Yes.
They are giving data on there. Have you ever heard them reporting the number of recoveries? And that is where we have problems, because that's politics. Mm-hmm. Because the virus is such a way that some can even get it without even taking paracetamol and still pull through. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So for government to start reporting the number of recoveries is quite concerning. I'm not saying it's bad to report the number of people, because the most important thing, the number of infections, those who have passed away, and for the recovery, and those who don't even report to the health facilities, how do you factor them into your figures? And as I said earlier on, the whole thing started with politics. Politics, come down to the lockdown, to the way we open the country without even taking into consideration what the virus is likely to do. And all along, we knew the president wanted to lift the ban, open the country for the voter registration exercise to be conducted. And the moment he lifted, he went on to say that the laws were not even applicable to the Electoral Commission. And they capitalized on that. and they carry out the needless voter registration exercise.
Yeah.
And we'll come to that if a time will permit. So, I belong to that school of thought that still believe that the virus is not causing more harm in the developed world, especially in Africa, as compared to the Western world. And that is helping our situation. But with regards to the way the President Akufo-Addo is handling it, I think there's nothing to write home about it.
Well,
Look,
in your manifesto, and
Yes.
I think a lot of our discussion today will probably focus
On the manifesto.
On the manifesto.
Yeah.
So this is from your manifesto, and I think it was important reading this in your manifesto. It says the COVID-19 pandemic has already made a tremendous impact on life in Ghana. It has exposed the deep weaknesses in our health care system and brought an inadequate system to its knees. And this, to me, highlights the whole issue.
Exactly, because, without the health infrastructure that President John Mahama provided, Ghana would have been in serious crisis. When the whole thing started, we don't have specialized hospitals to take care of those who are going to be, we were infected with this virus. The University of Ghana Medical Center, which the MPP in opposition, or even when they even came to power, were going around saying that those hospitals were only in existence in our Green Book, the NDC's Green Book, only for that hospital to turn into their a hotel for them to go and be relaxing when some of the prominent politicians were infected with the virus. So the point I'm trying to make, we don't know when one is going to fall sick.
Yes.
And when John Mahama was in government, he never anticipated we will be visited with COVID-19. But because he's a visionary leader, he decided to lay down the necessary infrastructure in the health sector. And that is now saving lives in Ghana. So I can't imagine what would have happened without the health facilities that were provided by John Mahama. And no wonder when it happened, President Akufo-Addo all of a sudden came out and said, he's going to construct 98 hospitals within a year. And I was just wondering.
But then in saying that, even here in the UK, the NHS was under tremendous pressure in the first place. So they had to try and come up with a plan where they even built Nightingale,
across the country.
The point I'm trying to say, is this. Earlier in your submission, you said, the pandemic has been politicized.
Yes.
So then if you're towing the line of saying if it wasn't for the fact that President Mahama built infrastructure, are you not towing the same line?
No, I'm not. As I said, when he was building it, we never anticipated there would be COVID. Every responsible government is supposed to provide the necessary facilities and social amenities for the citizens.
Yeah.
So he was just doing it. You don't need to wait for a pandemic like COVID-19 to hit your country before you realize that we need hospitals. That is the difference. We all fall sick, maybe malaria, whatever. And that was why President John Mahama provided the cheap compounds across the country, provided rich hospital was upgraded to regional hospital, so that Kolebu will be a referral or teaching hospital. But Accra was using both Kolebu as both referral and regional hospital. When the last time I visited Ghana, I went to Rich. I thought I was in a UK here. The whole environment changed completely.
And you see,
and then they will tell you that, it was renovation. No. The Rich Hospital project wasn't in renovation. It was a brand new hospital constructed on the same site. And we all see that in this country. When they are building project, they make provision for it such a way that if they need to expand, they can still put a new facility while maintaining the existing one. And then go to University of Ghana Medical Center, the same thing, the police hospital, the SNIT hospital, all these things were provided due to the vision President John Mahama had when he was the president of Ghana.
And when it comes to health, I had a very bad experience in Ghana when it comes to health. So to me, it's very close to my heart. And correct me if I'm wrong, we keep hearing about infrastructure, but not really focusing on the efficiency.
Oh, okay.
When you go to hospital, the time you have to wait to be seen.
Yeah.
And both NPP and NDC really talk about this.
Okay. You see, that's why we are going to introduce what will be known as the universal free primary healthcare. We all know in this country.
Universal free primary healthcare. And how are you going to fund
I will
that?
explain that.
Yes.
I will explain that. Look, if you are sick in this country, your first point of contact is what? Your GP.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to just get up and go to a hospital. Unless if it is an emergency and then the ambulance take you, or if you are just worried, you drive yourself. So the GP will provide the primary health care. And when they think that your situation is becoming serious, you can then be referred to a specialist. But the situation we have in Ghana today, every sickness, people are rushing to go to the district, the regional hospital. Even the rich people will take a malaria sickness to Kolebu because they can afford. Under John Mahama next administration, what we are saying, we need to free the district, the regional, the teaching, and referral hospitals. And that is why we are bringing in the universal free primary health care. There will be cheap compounds, health centers across the country. Minor illness will be handled by the health centers. So it's going to be holistic, where doctors, community-based nurses, which here we call them health visitors, midwives, dietitians, psychologists, will be housed under one roof, and they will provide the basic health care. Now, you ask me, how are we going to fund it?
Yes, how are you going to fund it?
Look, before John Mahama left office, he set up a cross-party committee to review our national health insurance scheme. Dr. Frimpong Boateng, the current Minister for Environment, was a member of that committee. The current Minister for Education, Dr. Prempre, was a member. That was John Mahama in government too. Some prominent health experts from the MPP opposition that time were appointed to serve. That committee was headed by a renowned health economist, Dr. Chris Atim. And they came out with recommendations how we can free the health facilities and make the National Health Insurance Scheme fit for purpose. They presented their recommendation to John Mahama just before the 2016 election. He was about to implement those recommendations, and today we wouldn't have been having the problems that we are experiencing. But unfortunately, as we all know, he lost the 2016 election. So in that recommendation, this idea of universal primary healthcare came. You know, there are certain monies, levies from VAT that is supposed to go into the National Health Insurance Scheme. The government of the day, they don't release it on time. Under John Mahama's government, the money will not go into the consolidated fund. It will be paid directly into the National Health Insurance Scheme. And we have what we call internal generated funds.
Before you go into that, because you've touched on the National Health Insurance Scheme, because I remember when President Mahama was in office, and this is something that when I went to Ghana speaking to people, I spoke to people, I asked questions. Does it work? The health insurance scheme, the National Health Insurance Scheme. And everybody said, no, it doesn't work.
When your mama was in...
Was it in power? And if you recall, it was your party that said they will introduce the one-time premium.
Yeah, we said we will introduce one-off payment premium.
Right.
Yeah, that was Professor Mills. Yes.
And that did not happen.
That didn't happen because we realized that will make sustainability and adequacy a problem. You need to sustain it first. I mean, a national health insurance scheme is a work in progress. I mean, the UK system is over 50 years. We just started, so we are learning from other advanced countries how to make it sustainable. And one thing that we think can make it more sustainable in this country is not everybody who contributes to the national insurance scheme, but it is universal. Because if you are working and you pay your national insurance contribution, and it so happens that you are out of work or due to ill health, you get care at point of delivery free. And that is the concept behind our universal free primary health care. So that if we make it such a way that everybody will be entitled to basic health without having to subscribe, then we can enhance taxes through the VAT and special levy to make the system more sustainable.
Okay, so that is universal free primary.
It's a key flagship policy, and Ghanaians living in UK need to believe that John Mahama can do it, because this idea of primary health care did not just come from nowhere. It was cross-party committee with prominent MPP members sitting on that committee, and they made that recommendation.
We had a lot of so-sos during the times of President Mahama, which, people watching this will probably think, how effective was it? I want us to concentrate a bit on former President John Dramani Mahama himself. It's a bit difficult for people to re-elect him when, he was already in office.
Okay.
And in 2016, he came out with his manifesto.
Yes.
He lost the election by 1 million votes.
Well, they claim it was by 1 million votes.
All right, maybe you can correct it.
I mean.
That is serious. So if 2016, he was the president, and he came up with a manifesto wanting re-election, and the people of Ghana said no. And he lost by, according to reports, and maybe you can correct me, by 1 million votes.
By 1 million votes.
What is different? What's different now to what he was actually trying to offer Ghanaians? Exactly.
First of all, let me correct this. Yes, on record, they said NDC lost by 1 million votes.
Yeah.
But if you look at the results in 2012 and 2016, President Akufo-Addo increased his vote by less than 300,000.
Well, we were told that there was an apathy.
Exactly. Okay. Whatever happened, that's another day's discussion. But what I'm trying to say in absolute terms, I don't think we lost by 1 million votes like people want to the whole world to believe. Now, back to the question of why he's asking Ghanaians to elect him again. I mean, you and I will agree. In 2016, we were confronted with unconventional, unprecedented political and electoral promises that I've never seen it anywhere on this earth. President Akufo-Addo, that time the opposition leader, aided by his VP that time, Dr. Baumia, sold some utopian, half-truth, half-baked, ill-thought-through policies to Ghanaians.
Which was,
let me give you an example. One dump, one village.
Okay.
You know how that came into the political discourse that time? It was Akufo-Addo who visited a village in Bolga. And the chief was saying, that during dry season, they don't get chance to farm because their dams or whatever always dry up. And then the then opposition leader said, don't worry, if I come, every village will have one dam. And the next day, it was all over the place. When I heard it, I said, okay, one dam, one village. It's a laudable idea. But first of all, do we know the number of villages we have in? That time, they didn't even know.
Okay.
And assuming that they even knew the number of villages, geographers, agriculturalists will tell you it's not every land that is suitable for a dam. So if you say one dam, one village, without even carrying out a feasibility studies, before even promising Ghanaians that. But because the farmers that were depending on rain for their farming bought into that idea. And no wonder when he took over, we realized that those things were ill thought through. Why am I saying this? When they took over first year, they claimed it was dry season, so they couldn't construct the dams. I said, okay, we're there because we don't have all year round rainy season.
Yeah.
Then when they started constructing it, I think the first dams, dry season came and dried them up. Then the second batch of dams, the rain came and washed them away. I said, so what dams is President Akufo-Addo constructed? So you see, they didn't even consider the topography of Ghana before making that promise.
Okay.
One district, one factory. You know it was fiasco. Some of the districts are urban areas. When I was doing O-level economics, I expected Baumia, who is PhD, to know this. We used to learn what we call localization of industries. An industrial zone or an industrial hub, so that industries will be located there and they will enjoy large economics of scale. They will have joint manpower, resources, electricity. And you are going around singing.
We will talk to
NDP.
So you see, NDP to also come on to.
So and then the free HSS was something that Ghanaians really bought into.
But
but you see, when they've done it, but with lot of issues. And without our role, they wouldn't have even implemented it. Look, let me tell you one thing. They can't claim ownership of free senior high school. Why am I saying this?
Yeah, please explain.
Because the free senior high school concept was piloted by President Rawlings, Chairman Rawlings.
I mean,
let me finish. But
there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm coming. I will come. You see, and I'm a product of that.
Yes.
Where that time they did it on pilot basis. It was only when he became successful, then they enroll or extend it. So in 1991, before we returned to constitutional rule, because of the experiences under the PNDC government, Chairman Rawlings in his own wisdom said, let's make it a constitutional provision.
Right, yeah.
So progressively under Article 25 of the 92 Constitution, that we should progressively extend basic education. It's compulsory to every Ghanaian.
Yeah.
They even boycotted the consultative assembly.
Let me learn.
That drafted the 92 Constitution. So why not, are they now claiming that it is their brainchild?
No. I understand. And I mean, whoever came up with the concept it could be Rawlings, because it is in the Constitution. However, since the Constitution was drafted, we've had exchange of
government, exactly.
Okay, and no government was able to implement it.
Okay.
However, this government have been able to implement it. Regardless of whatever issue.
Exactly.
But they've been able to achieve it.
Okay. You see, equity, fairness, quality is key in education. And that's why we're a bit skeptical. You are here. We have students in this country going to secondary school. How many boarding schools in this country are public? Second cycle. Children going to second cycle school, majority of them, if I'm not mistaken.
So you're talking about the double track systems?
I'll come to double track. I'll come to that.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say, without the e-blocks that John Mahama provided across the country, we would have been having triple track system, not double track. So our approach was to provide the educational facilities first. We are not saying we should abolish boarding schools overnight, but the approach was to build these day community schools, which are popularly referred to as E-blocks, E-block excellency. That is the meaning, and I was told. Across the country, and they are going to be mainly community day. So the second cycle students or the free senior high school students, like in this country, in the morning will go to school, and in the evening they will return home to their parents. And that is the approach in the advanced countries.
But then...
But this President Akufo-Addo roll it out, and without considering that some areas don't have educational facilities. And no wonder we were confronted with a situation where a child can be removed from, let's say, Boko up north and placed in a school, a day school in Accra.
I mean, you have challenges, no matter what it is that you're starting. But also not to mention...
Well, let me tell you, I remember...
President Mahama was against it.
No, never. We're not against it.
No, before, in 2016 in particular.
No. People we said let's trade cautiously. It's different. If we were against it, then we would have repealed the Article 25 of the 92 Constitution. We inserted it there. So we can't turn around and say we are against it. But all what we were saying, we don't have the educational infrastructure to roll it out the way Nana was saying. And we have been vindicated. Because clearly, I have a brother sitting home. When was that? I mean, he's going to be home for almost 4 months before going back to school. What kind of system is that? And now I have to send money for him to attend private tuition. So where is the free? If they have even allowed him to go, I would have still been sending money for him.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say, in monetary terms, parents are worse off. Because assuming if your child is placed in a day school far away from home, you end up by paying for him or her to stay in a hostel, which is not supervised. In this country, that's illegal. Any child under 16 is supposed to be under strict supervision of a parent or a guardian. And that is what we are having in Ghana. And that's why we ended up by this.
It's a bit unfair we compare Ghana to England. I think we're punching a bit above our weight. I just want to come back to the free SHS because this was during 2012, the IEA debate, Institute of Economic Affairs. So this is from President Mahama. He further pointed out that the Constitution enjoins all governments to make education progressively free, which you mentioned. And then he goes on to say, it does not lie in the whimsical promise of a party to win political power, making such pronouncements that cannot be achieved in the short term, referring to
in the short term.
SHS.
Exactly.
So he says, and he goes to say that to say that your priority is to spend that money to make senior high school free when you still haven't eliminated costs at basic level, children are not able to have access even at the secondary level. Infrastructure is not available for all children to qualify for school. That is a misplaced point, and Addo standing the whole process on his head. So he did not actually believe that it was possible.
No, in the short possible
but then even if you're saying in a short possible time, now he's saying when he comes back, if he's been re-elected and he comes back, he will make it proper.
Exactly.
Now let me say something. And now I'm throwing this out to the NPP. Come on here, let's have a discussion.
Awesome.
And this was a couple of days ago. President Addo, he was questioned about the free SHS.
Yes.
And then he said something which I thought was a salient point he made. He said, even during the time of Kwame Nkrumah, when Kwame Nkrumah started it, back then, it was schools under trees.
Okay.
The infrastructure wasn't there. But they still rolled it out.
Yeah.
So to say, to concentrate on the shortcomings or things that have happened, it's a bit unfair, don't you think?
Yeah, I remember the first NDC Minister for Education, late Harris Hoyer, had this to say on the educational reforms. He said that, I remember we embarked on some demonstration on that issue when we were at university. We went to his ministry, he came out of his window and said, look, that moving backwards as far as the policy was concerned was as difficult as moving forward. So what your mama is saying, yes, President Akufo-Addo has started it. Saying we are going to abolish it is going to be difficult as moving forward. And we all know it's something that as a country, we agree, and that's why we voted for the 92 Constitution, which is in the Constitution. So when he takes power, what we are going to do is to what? Review it and make sure that it's fit for purpose. And because any social intervention project should have provision for what? Review. But because President Akufo-Addo was doing it for political reasons, he never thought of reviewing. So the moment President Mahama mentioned review, they jump and say he said he's going to cancel it.
Okay.
We are not canceling it. We have all agreed. And you see, ours is People's Manifesto. Why are we having this double track? Because we don't have enough educational infrastructure. So when we take over, we are going to make sure that the abandoned E-blocks will be completed within the shortest possible time. We are going to absorb the private schools into the scheme because they are development partners in the provision of education. So why are you supporting them, the public schools, without the private schools? So the money the government will be using to provide educational facilities will be used to support the private school proprietors. They have already constructed their buildings to make sure that they absorb some of the students to ease the pressure on facilities. I mean, this is evidence-based. There's example in our neighboring country like Sierra Leone. After the civil war, the government came out with a scheme. If you are a businessman and you want to set up a private school in Sierra Leone, all what you needed to do, pull the building down, up, the government will even pay for your teachers and provide you with teaching aid. You are there to just make profit and recoup whatever money you have used to put up the building. It's thinking outside the box approach. And they jumped and said, why are we extending it? That is against the Constitution. The majority leader said it's not against the Constitution. Because when they were going to roll out this free senior high school, they didn't go to Parliament to ask for any legislative instrument to operationalize it. And that was why my good friend, Honorable Ayarga, Mahama Ayarga, took the matter even up to Supreme Court, but just this week, as usual, they threw the case away. Now, if you are not using any act of Parliament to operationalize it, and we are only left with the Constitution, which did not make any distinction between public and private school, then John Mahama is 100% right and legal and constitutional right to say when he's elected, he will extend it to private school. So that will reduce the burden and we can get rid of double track before it becomes triple track.